As much as NBA viewers enjoy the actual basketball product on display, many who follow the league are just as intrigued by the individuals playing the game and their personalities. Sometimes these stars, as famous and media savvy as they can be, show their human side. Players can get heated with opponents or even teammates, as evidenced by Damian Lillard and Paul George's verbal spat. Beef between players both heightens the tension on the court and keeps interest high throughout the long season. While there are too many feuds throughout NBA history to count, here is some of the more noticeable ones. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. It all started well before the summer of 2016. Westbrook and Durant, for as talented a duo as they were, never got over the hump. Many felt Westbrook's insistent shooting and poor decision-making at the end of games was holding the small forward back. When the Thunder blew a 3-1 lead in the 2016 Western Conference Finals, there was a feeling that the pair would split. What followed was a shocking free agent decision, one that left Westbrook angry and hurt, and the two not speaking for months. This feud has subsided in recent years, but in the couple of seasons following Durant's controversial departure from Oklahoma City to Golden State, it was clear Durant and Westbrook weren't on good terms. Westbrook even made it clear before the 2017 finals that he would rather watch Sister Act 2 instead of the Warriors in the finals, a clear shot at his former teammate. They had some unresolved issues after the breakup, and it came to a head in a game when the Thunder were blowing out the Warriors in November of 2017. After Westbrook swiped the ball from Durant, the two got into a literal head-to-head verbal exchange and had to be separated by teammates. It was the first significant time the two players acknowledged each other, and it fueled the fire for fans and media members who wanted a more definitive display of their issues. Durant and Westbrook both denied there being any added tension in the matchup at the time, but they each have since opened up about their relationship issues. Durant said, "I feel like I effed that up. I feel like I just made it a thing when it shouldn't have been." Before the two played on the same All-Star team in 2018. Westbrook, about his interactions with Durant, said, "It's been fine. It's been normal, communicating, and that's about it, you know? Close friends can get at it too." Here's a case of two pretty close friends fighting. Matt Barnes and Derek Fisher. This incident was one that blew up on Twitter at the time and had fans making memes instantly. Barnes and Fisher were teammates on the Lakers from 2010 to 2012 and reportedly pretty close friends at the time. By the fall of 2015, Fisher was coaching the Knicks and Barnes was preparing for Grizzlies training camp. Barnes was going through a divorce and apparently Fisher developed a relationship with the woman. Barnes got wind that the two were in some sort of a relationship and spending a lot of time at his house with his kids, and the story goes that Barnes drove down to Los Angeles to confront his former teammate. Barnes says the drive wasn't far, but initial reports stated he drove upwards of 95 miles to fight Fisher. They got into a scuffle at 11:45 p.m. Barnes claims he won, and then also approached his ex-wife, but pictures the next day didn't show Fisher endured any noticeable injuries. Fisher didn't file any charges, rather electing to repeatedly say to reporters that he likes to keep private matters private. This beef seems to be an isolated incident, but is one of the weirder and most widely publicized feuds in recent NBA history. Speaking of fights, one almost broke out between these widely known legends of the game. Kobe Bryant and Shaq. O'Neal and Bryant's beef is one of the most publicized and controversials in NBA history. The pair enjoyed extreme success in the early 2000s, including three-peating as champions, but unfortunately let their egos get in the way of the team's success. Bryant, being the obsessive workhorse that he was, hated that the more gifted O'Neal didn't work hard and was often out of shape. O'Neal, being a more lighthearted and established superstar at the time, was annoyed that a number 2 option wanted all of the spotlight. The two frequently exchanged blows in the media, allowing the masses to fuel the fire developing in the locker room. By the 2003-2004 finals, the two were at each other's throats, with Bryant refusing to pass to O'Neal at times in a series in which the center was dominating his matchup and the guard was struggling to hit shots. O'Neal wanted a contract extension after the season but made the Lakers choose between him and the younger Bryant. Los Angeles dealt O'Neal to Miami, where he won his 4th and final title in 2006, while Bryant tallied outrageous scoring numbers on mediocre Lakers teams in the next few seasons. Fortunately, the two made amends before Bryant's tragic death, but many wonder how many more championships the pair could have won had they set aside their differences. The next one is a bit different. It's not two players going at it, but the GOAT and his GM got into a bit of an argument. Michael Jordan and Jerry Krause. Jordan's issues with the Bulls' general manager Jerry Krause were well documented in The Last Dance. This feud began in 1986 and extended past Jordan's last game for Chicago in 1998, with the Bulls somehow overcoming the two's issues to win 6 championships. In 1986, Jordan despised Krause for trying to withhold him from returning to action after breaking his foot early in the season. Krause put Jordan on a stringent minutes restriction to the end of the year, which infuriated the ultra-competitive Jordan. Krause wanted to tank and avoid the playoffs to earn a favorable draft pick, but Jordan willed his team to the playoffs. Once unleashed in the first round, Jordan set a playoff record with 63 points in a game against the 67-win Celtics. Jordan lost trust in Krause after that and continued to grow hatred towards him as the years went on. Krause was always difficult to offer substantial contracts to Jordan and his teammates, particularly Pippen, and repeatedly credited the organization's structures for the Bulls' success instead of the players. The tipping point came before the 1998 season when Krause told head coach Phil Jackson it'd be his last year as the team's coach, even if he went 82-0. Jordan made it clear he didn't want to play for any other coach, but Krause was adamant that the organization he built was bigger than any single coach or player. Krause, for some reason, didn't want to keep Chicago's core of Jordan, Pippen, and Jackson together past 1998, feeling that the team's best seasons were in the rearview mirror. Despite completing Chicago's second three-peat in the decade, Krause stayed true to his word and let Jackson walk. Jordan then retired, Pippen went to Houston, and Jackson won 5 more titles with the Lakers. Thankfully, this beef didn't have a negative impact on MJ's legacy. The last one we have is between two dominant teammates, Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson. These two disliked each other from the beginning. Mourning joined Johnson in Charlotte in 1992 after Johnson's Rookie of the Year season and immediately felt slighted by the forward when Johnson flaunted his early success. The pair was dominant on the court, but things got bad once Johnson signed an $84 million contract in 1993. Mourning began publicly complaining about the money his teammate was making and his lack of touches on offense, which led him to leaving for Miami soon after. Johnson, after suffering a back injury, also left the team for New York. The Heat and Knicks were huge rivals in the late 1990s, if nothing else because former New York coach Pat Riley left for Miami and the teams faced each other in the playoffs 4 consecutive seasons. The rivalry peaked in the 1998 playoffs when Mourning and Johnson, after years of resentment and disdain, engaged in fisticuffs near the end of Game 4. The two put forth an embarrassing display of inaccurate punching, but the most famous shot of the fight was Knicks head coach Jeff Van Gundy desperately grasping the leg of Charles Oakley trying to stop the altercation. NBA scuffles are typically isolated incidents that develop throughout a single game or series, but this one was years in the making. For as much as the two feuded, you would have expected a more substantial brawl. These were all past events that the players in the leagues have taken care of, and now teams and their members are aware of the consequences in fighting with fellow teammates or other NBA players. No team or organization wants things like this to happen in their team, but sometimes you can't dodge them. Team chemistry is one of the most important things in basketball and in general in any team sport. If the players and staff don't have good relationships with each other, the team will not be successful. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss our new uploads. There definitely will be more videos about popular NBA beefs, so stay tuned.